Hello, everyone. It is I, Mitch. We are back with a new list today featuring the best single-player games which you can play right now. We will not only be showing ancient games, but giving shout out to the latest and greatest of single-player games for 2022. Without further ado, let's start with the first game. Coming in first, Elden Ring. Yes, Elden Ring is on fire right now. This just released game just checks so many flags that it is on everyone's game consoles right now. It's a dark fantasy action RPG by From Software. Basically, it's the best of Dark Souls in a vast open world with a lot more things to ever do in a Souls game. The Elden Ring is an ambitious open-world take on the Dark Souls formula of challenging but rewarding action RPG that the studio is known for. Players explore the lands between a vast medieval world inhabited by dragons, warriors, demigods, and so on. As the protagonist, you embark on a quest to restore this broken land and become its new Elden Lord. All parts of its open world urges the players for exploration, while the bosses and mini-bosses give you a real hard time. Elden Ring has launched on Steam, Windows, PlayStation, and Xbox. Like many, we are also playing it currently, and can safely say that it is, in fact, one of the very best single-player games ever made. Next on the list, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It's a massive success made by CD Projekt Red, one of the most respected game developers in the world. It's the best RPG and game of the decade, inspired by the little-known fables of Eastern European folklore. This amazing masterpiece pulls you into endless memorable moments, from the struggles of villagers contending with war and monsters lurking in the surrounding woods, to the understated compassion of its hero, Geralt of Rivia. It's one of the biggest, most detailed and intimate open worlds created. A haunting yet beautiful gaming experience. Even the average side quests are more creative or better presented than the main story of most RPGs. And then it went and did that part better too. Also, it presents some of the most memorable characters like Ciri, Yennefer, Triss, and Geralt himself. No wonder why Netflix's Witcher series became a massive success overnight. A must-play single-player game. Up next, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. It's an action-adventure RPG game where the player controls Link, who awakens from a 100-year slumber to defeat Calamity Ganon and save the Kingdom of Hyrule. Players are given little instruction and can explore the world freely. Tasks include collecting various items and gear to aid in objectives, such as puzzle solving or side quests. The world is unstructured and designed to encourage exploration and experimentation, and the main story quest can be completed in a non-linear fashion. The main story has a gameplay of about 50 hours. As Link, players can perform actions such as running, climbing, swimming, and gliding with a paraglider, although Link is limited by his stamina. Overall, the game offers over 180 hours of gameplay, including side quests and challenges. It is one of the very best open-world adventure games from the new generation of games. Up next, The Last of Us 2. It's an action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog. The story follows Joel, a grizzled and tired survivor tasked with escorting a teenage girl, Ellie, across the post-apocalyptic lush green world. The Last of Us Chapter 2 starts out seemingly simple, taking place about 4 years after the end of the first, and setting an older, angrier, but still immune Ellie on a quest for revenge that also hones in on the cycles of violence that can plague humanity, as much as any infection. Part 2 is peppered with brutal, tragic, and mostly poignant moments that hit harder because you take part in them. Like it or not, even when she does horrible things, her motivations are just as legitimate as Joel's or Ellie's. The Last of Us series is a true feat, delivering a layered, emotionally shattering story on top of a stealth and action gameplay. A true masterpiece worthy of its rank in this list. Coming in next, Horizon Zero Dawn. It is an action RPG played from a third-person view. Players take control of Aloy, a hunter who ventures through a post-apocalyptic land ruled by robotic creatures to uncover her past. Aloy can kill enemies in a variety of ways, setting traps such as tripwires using the Tripcaster, shooting them with arrows, using explosives, and a spear. Aloy can dodge, sprint, slide, or roll to evade her enemies' advances. Upon killing machines, they throw machine components, including electricity and the metal, are vital to Aloy's survival. She can loot their remains for crafting resources such as ammo, resource satchels, pouches, quivers, resistance, antidotes, traps, and much more. Weapons have modification slots for dealing more damage. Aloy wears a focus, a small headpiece that scans machines to determine their susceptibilities, identify their location, their level, and the nature of loot they will drop. Horizon Zero Dawn is praised for its open world, story, visuals, combat, characterization, and awesome gameplay. Also, look out for its upcoming sequel.
And awesome gameplay.
Next, God of War. This was an action-adventure game exclusive to PlayStation till Sony decided to release God of War on PC, and it was like a dream come true for many of us. Unlike previous games, which were loosely based on Greek mythology, this installment is loosely inspired by Norse mythology, with majority of it set in ancient Scandinavia in the realm of Midgard. Players control Kratos in combo-based combat and puzzle game elements. The gameplay is vastly different from previous games as it was completely rebuilt. A major change is that Kratos no longer uses his signature double-chained blades, the Blades of Chaos, as his default weapon. Instead, he uses a magical battle axe called the Leviathan Axe, which is infused with ice elemental magic. The axe can be thrown at enemies and magically summoned back to his hand, similar to Thor's hammer. The main aim is to fulfill your second wife's death wish, to spread her ashes at the highest peak of the 9 realms. And along the way, there is conflict with monsters and gods of the Norse world. Its sequel, God of War Ragnarok, is also planned for this year-end. Next, Control. It is Remedy's latest delve into the new weird and perhaps the studio's strangest and finest work yet. Putting you in the boots of the Federal Bureau of Control's newly appointed director, Jesse Faden, it's up to you to journey into the depths of its HQ, called the Oldest House, which is as creepy, magical, and mysterious as it sounds. With its supernaturally flavored third-person shooter combat, delectably off-kilter story, and genuinely jaw-dropping visuals, Control is a preternatural pill of kaleidoscopic carnage, with every moment managing to top the last in its pure surreal wonder. With Control, it feels like you've been dropped straight in the middle of a thrilling TV show. You know that things have happened, and there is more drama yet to come, but you're somewhere in the center of it all. The pieces of the story floating around you like the eerily suspended corpses that haunt the hallways of the Oldest House. Overall, it's a strange game, but there is no other game like it, and it's extremely addicting. Up next, Red Dead Redemption 2. This is an action-adventure game set in 1899, in a fictionalized representation of the Western, Midwestern, and Southern United States, and follows outlaw Arthur Morgan's story, who is a member of the Vanderlyn Gang. The game is presented through both first and third-person perspectives, and the player may freely roam in its interactive open world. The game's unexploited land makes up the largest portion of the game world and features diverse landscapes with occasional travelers, bandits, and wildlife. Gameplay elements include shootouts, heists, hunting, horseback riding, interacting with non-player characters, and maintaining the character's honor rating through morale choices and deeds. The game has an average of 50 hours of gameplay, and completing all the side quests and other challenges can add more than 170 hours of gameplay. It's one of the must-play open-world games of this generation. Coming in next, Ghost of Tsushima. It's a 2020 action-based adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Sony. Featuring an open world, the player controls Jin Sakai, a samurai on a quest to protect Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan. The game was released for PS4 and received praise for its visuals, art direction, narrative, and combat. The game features a large open world with no visible waypoints on the HUD, which can be explored with or without guidance by wind direction. Players can engage with enemies called a standoff using their katana, which can chain up a series of fatal strikes against a set number of enemies. You can also unlock various sets of armor, clothing, and charms. Ghost of Tsushima has a distinctive aesthetic after all, but it's only skin deep. It offers a lovely world to explore, and there's value in that. especially the Mythic Tales side quests, which are some of the best moments in all of Ghost of Tsushima. Last but not least, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, an open-world action RPG set in 873 AD. The game recounts an alternative history of the Viking invasion of Britain. The players choose either male or female characters and is able to customize hairs, war paints, clothing, armor, and tattoos. The variety of weapons available to the player has been expanded to include weapons such as flails and great swords. Combat has been changed to allow dual wielding of almost any weapon, including shields, and every piece of gear that the player collects is unique. There is more focus on the stealth aspects for both traversing the game world and in combat. You can hide from enemies not only in stationary environmental objects, but can pull down their hood and slip into certain crowds to use them as cover. You can use Raven to scout and distract guards, and can access Hidden Blade for near instantaneous assassinations. Through specific combinations of approach, tactics, and weapon selection, you can assassinate any boss through a single attack. Hands down, it's the best Assassin's Creed game ever. And with this, we wrap up our list of best single-player games. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to see more content like this one. See you next time!